welcome to the Stock Car Spectacle. I'm Ian Jortson,
I'm Nick Kinzel.
And I'm Tom Hovland.
and we just got done with Phoenix Raceway this past weekend with NASCAR. We're looking forward to Las Vegas this upcoming weekend. Got a lot of big stories to talk about. Before we dig into all that, let's start off with our diecast of the week. Nick, what'd you bring for us, buddy?
All right, so I'm going to take a break from the 164th for this week because we are going to Vegas this weekend. So I thought I would bust out the old 21 Daniel Hemrick South Point hotel and casino car. He's had a relationship with the Brennan Gaughan's family for quite some time, and every year they go to Vegas, he always has a South Point car. I think South Point's going to be on his truck on Friday night. So yeah, just cool looking car. And yeah, I can't wait to see what the truck looks like for Friday night.
Yeah, that's awesome that he's had a sponsor that's been sticking with him for this whole time.
Yeah.
Those South Point schemes they look really good, they're strong, and they keep them mostly consistent. So like you can always spot them really easily on the track.
Oh yeah.
So if I were a betting man, I'd say that the South Point truck will look very similar to that South Point car.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. All right, Tom, what'd you bring for us today, buddy?
All right, we're going to Vegas. I'm going to be boring. I bought this today. I was at a Target, just looking through. I didn't know they had it. Didn't have it. Going to Vegas, so we got our Vegas native Kyle Busch, his Talladega win, leaving it in the case. But the McLaren grills, if you spend like $2,500, you can get this car as like a 15-inch grill
Ooh.
for your backyard. But it's ridiculously expensive.
I was at the damn race, so I should have just gone to Victory Lane and stolen the hood myself.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. All right, so for my diecast of the week, I am bringing out Kevin Harvick's illegal Las Vegas race win diecast. I was talking about it last week when he showed the haters at Phoenix Raceway that he can do it without cheating. So this is my only cheating car that is in my collection of diecasts, and Kevin's done it quite a few times, I will say.
Is the rear windshield sunk in on the raced version as well?
You know what? I should probably do that myself because it's
There
not
you
it's
go.
not realistic.
Dude, some people go all out on those custom diecasts though, like the wrecked car diecast one. I was like, I recreated this flipped car, and you're like, holy cow,
Yeah, it's
just
pretty
ripped
cool.
apart a $70-$80 thing, but cool.
Yeah, Dalton, he made me a custom Kurt Busch diecast like a few years
Oh,
ago.
sick.
I just had like his normal Haas paint scheme from when he was with
Mm-hmm.
SHR. And it was like the Chevy body, and they never made his Pocono Race Win diecast from 2016, so I had Dalton work on that, and it's a beauty.
And now he's making 1-to-1 scale diecast
Yeah,
schemes.
Yeah, for real.
no kidding. All right, so our top stories. It was released the day after we were recording yesterday. Go figure. But Austin Cindric not suspended after intentionally spinning. Ty Dillon. Austin Cindric does lose 50 driver points, but guys, this is not how it should be. That should be suspension worthy right there. We have seen it in the past with drivers getting right hooked, and then a few days later, the driver that did that gets suspended. What's different about this?
NASCAR claims it's the track and what he hit, but it's just I don't like it. Why put a gray area in the rules if you intentionally wreck somebody like that? That yeah, sure, you could try to give them a bump and run, they get a little loose. That's different. That is intentionally moving somebody, which results in a wreck. But this was like they have the data. They know he turned left into the guy. Ty Dillon still hit a wall. They were still on a racetrack. I mean, he spun right in front of their car. Um, but the other argument is the 50 points is a worse punishment than the one race suspension, because Cindric's not going to go out there and score 50 points in a weekend to make this up. But it's it's still frustrating that there seems to be these gray areas when we're just looking for some consistency from NASCAR
Yeah,
and all their calls.
that's just it. I mean, if they it can't come down to you can do it at a slow track. That's okay because the speeds aren't that high. It shouldn't be like that. If they want to just make this consistent, just put it in the rule book, and that's it. If you right hook somebody on purpose, one race suspension, it's over and done deal. But I don't know why we haven't done that yet, and we're just gonna keep getting these inconsistent calls like that until they finally do just put it in the rule book. And then if the drivers do it, they know what's coming.
Yeah, but hasn't that been the name of the game for NASCAR for quite a few years now? Is just inconsistency with every single rule that is in that damn book. It's insane.
I don't understand what the difference of this is. I mean, they were in the actual front stretch of Coda. There's the pits on the left, the crowd on the right, with a guardrail in between. Like, what's the difference between this and spinning somebody off the corner into the outside wall at Martinsville, or I don't know, somebody on the backstretch at Kansas? Like, I don't understand why there should be a difference.
Yeah. It makes absolutely no sense. So, yeah, I guess if you're pissed off at someone, guys, wait for a road course and then right hook them. You'll only get a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, I mean, it still nosed him into the wall, and you have that intense turn coming up right there. If you're Austin Cindric, keep a level head for 12 more seconds, and then just use his car as a brake going into the corner. Like, and then nobody's talking about this. They're like, oh, he roughed him up on the exit, and he sent him on the uh, the next corner. That's how you should do it. But now he's gotten away with one. He's going to continue to earn playoff points, and he's just 50 points behind.
Yeah.
I don't
Uh,
know. It's weird.
it's absolutely ridiculous. So it just opens up a door for like, well, can we do this or can we not? So someone else is gonna try it like when we go to our next road course. What is that? Mexico, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah, we're gonna see someone get right hooked over there. It's stupid. All right. Well, speaking of Mexico, actually, there's been quite some rumors out that NASCAR might not be going to the road course down in our southern friends' home. So, w- what could happen here? They're talking Daytona road course.
No,
That makes me disgusted right there. But well, we're not going to get into all of it, but just all the political tension in the air. Who knows if we'll actually be able to go down and race in Mexico? We had Chase Elliott and Daniel Suarez, quite a few drivers down there just a few weeks ago, kind of exploring the area. So could it happen? Could it not? It's really all up in the air right now.
I mean, what I've only heard briefly about this, but like, are they just saying because of the 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 extraneous tariff talks that
That
Mexico's not
and
going to let NASCAR show up,
that and
or
closing the
or
border.
what? Closing the border? I don't buy it. They spent all this money. They signed contracts. I assume we're going to be going down here for a few years. Like you said, they just sent a bunch of drivers down there to do a promotional shoot and watch the track and walk the track. So like it would be weird. I feel like it would be a logistical nightmare. There might be outs in the contract to be a one and done here, but I feel like we're way too close to be able to do anything about it now.
Yeah, I totally agree. But if it does happen, I just hope it doesn't turn into the Daytona road course. We've been there, done
Mm.
that. It was not fun. That was probably the worst road course that NASCAR has ever been to.
I mean, get Connor Zilich a car.
yeah, for
These
real.
things drive like the sports cars. Then Connor Zilich in the Cup race,
Yeah,
he'll win it for sure.
yeah, no
Um,
doubt.
are we sure that Kyle Busch will still be allowed into the country of Mexico?
Okay, I have been wondering this the whole time since they have announced this because supposedly Kyle Busch was supposed to get like years in a Mexico prison for bringing over his handgun. And somehow he got off. I think he paid him off or something, and then they were like, "Never come back again, or you will be arrested." So, could we have a replacement driver for Kyle Busch for Mexico?
Uh, what's that waiver going to look like?
Yeah,
Yeah, Kyle.
right.
Kyle, why'd you skip the Mexico race? Because I wasn't sure I was allowed in the country.
Because I'm a convicted felon.
Ugh. Yeah. So that's a nothing story. I'm sure it's all figured out, and all these rich people have figured out how to get Kyle Busch to Mexico without
Yeah,
any
yeah.
drama. But
I'm sure he'll have no
Hey,
issue.
if they haven't figured it out and the race moves, problem solved.
Yeah, it all works out for Kyle. I'm sure Kyle doesn't want to go back anytime soon. That's for sure.
Yeah, but like
Bad
if they
memories.
were to do it, Daytona road course the only one that makes sense. Unless I don't know. I just maybe do something different. Maybe run there's a Miami road course. Might be fun. If you have to have a road course. NASCAR owns that track too.
Yeah, if you need a road course,
Put
but
another race at okay, well, just put it on the Miami Oval.
Mm.
yeah,
Get a second Homestead race.
I'm
That's just going to be
not mad about it.
such a nightmare with all the people who've already spent money to get tickets and everything, booked hotels, booked
Flights.
flights. Like what is going to happen there? That's just going to be a nightmare. And I wonder what a crowd turnout would look like at the replacement track that they would go to.
How far out is it?
In May.
It's mere weeks away, right?
I think it's too close to it for them to do anything.
Where is it?
Yeah, or
I'll
it's in
find it in a
June.
second. It's in June?
Yeah, it's auto. It's the
There it is. Yeah.
Autodromo Hermanos
Yeah.
Rodriguez.
So they have probably 2 months to say yay or nay, but we're
You.
we're coming up on it already. Like
Yeah.
these these things are logistical nightmares already. And I'm sure this has been in the works for 5 years. They're not just going to bail on it now. I can't imagine they would, but who knows?
Yeah. Anything can happen. We've seen crazier shit. I mean, 5 years ago today, the whole world shut down and we lost racing for 2 months. So we didn't think that would ever
That's true
happen.
too. You're right. You're right. I mean
And
the website
that
the website's still showing it's 93 days, 15 hours, 11 minutes and a
mm,
countdown going here. So, um this whole website's in Spanish. Who would have thought?
Really? Wow.
Comprar boletos.
that 2020 post return to racing from the shutdown was crazy. Having these double headers, we were doing some weeknight races. I was it's crazy that was already 5 years ago. It felt like a lifetime ago that
Yeah.
we were doing that.
Yeah, no fans in the stands. All the drivers had to wear masks separated from each other. They had the freaking long pole for the microphone. Man, that was weird times. But
Dude,
I think
everything was wild.
the worst part about all of that was just you couldn't celebrate with your team. Like they only the driver could go to victory lane. That was it.
yep.
So like for the championship and everything, hey,
I always
Am I
just
reading this right? I'm looking at tickets for this race. They're in the thousands of dollars no matter where you go. Is this
what?
some kind of pre-sale? Is this in a different currency?
Yeah,
Is this in the Mexican currency?
I was gonna
I
say, isn't
it's got a
pesos like?
dollar sign above it, but
Hmm,
I mean it wouldn't surprise me.
thousands of dollars
well,
to sit in the main grandstand,
that
7,000 to 10,500.
Mexico
No
is
way.
putting tariffs on
That's
NASCAR
No
fans.
that's
way.
gotta be the Mexican currency right there. There's no way.
Tariffs.
I don't know
That's all
what
I gotta say.
the conversion rate is. I mean, we can cut all this out, but that seems insane.
We're doing currency conversion right now. Welcome. Yeah. So I don't know, I'm excited for that
Okay, maybe
race.
it's in pesos because this seat on the main grandstand says 8,540 and that
Yeah.
translates to around $421.
That
I mean
makes more
still
So
sense.
that
for
feels more fair. But it's got to be for the weekend.
a
I
cup
don't
ticket, that's
I
ridiculous.
don't read Spanish too well anymore, so I'm having a hard time. But that feels better. $10,000 would be absolutely
You're talking
that
F1
Yeah.
in Vegas
yeah,
prices right
that would
there.
be
Yeah.
that I think it's in pesos. I think I've figured it out with the power of deduction and Google. So, um, okay, I'm less offended now.
All right.
That's
Well,
I mean that's Chicago street race prices. So,
yeah. Very true. All right,
mhm.
so moving on. Big news today. For the Amazon booth. Looks like our friend Carl Edwards is going to be coming back. Uh,
What? Wait, hold on. I'm cold reading all this stuff. What? What? This is
what
insane.
you didn't hear this?
I had
Carl Edwards is going to be
I
an analysis
I
for
dumped
Amazon.
Twitter in the off season. I am out of touch, and I don't have the NASCAR app notifications on because I don't get to watch the races live, and they'll tell me the winner, and it'll be spoilers. So I don't have all these notifications on. I'm flying blind. I'm a terrible analyst now.
Yeah. So Carl
This is
Edwards
cool.
will be in the booth for Prime, and that's gonna be great. That's gonna be great. And Nick, this will make you happy. Your boy Trevor Bain is gonna be a pit reporter. Oh,
It's gonna
that's
be
great.
interesting. Hey, I don't think he's ever done that before, but hey, if it gets him on a broadcast, I'm cool with it.
This is a win, 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 win. I mean, Carl Edwards basically quit NASCAR cold turkey. He didn't have to come back at all. And it's not like he has to commit to do 15, 20 races. This is perfect for him. He gets 5 races, and is this the same booth that's doing TNT as well, or do we not know anything about the TNT?
I'm not sure. They just said that it was
No,
for the
because this
Prime
would just be
coverage.
Prime. Okay, so yeah, 5 races for cousin Carl to come in and talk NASCAR, and the fans love him. The fans will be excited to hear about him. I feel like Carl Edwards could bring in an audience of his own. People are like, oh, Carl's going to be commenting on the races. I'm going to tune into that. So this is a win for NASCAR, a win for the fans, a win for Amazon, um, countless others. Win
Yep.
for Carl Edwards coming back to the sport, and he's going to be welcome back. I mean, that's fantastic.
Yeah, no doubt. One of the greatest guys to be in the NASCAR garage, and now he's going to be in the booth, and we'll be able to hear that voice for 5 weeks. Cannot wait to see him in the booth with the others. All right, guys, let's get into our Phoenix review. Trucks were off this past weekend, but we kicked off with the Xfinity Series. Alex Bowman won stage one, Justin Allgaier won stage two. And how about that wild battle to the finish with our three picks, guys? I had Almirola, Tom had Bowman, and Nick had Brandon Jones. All came down to those three guys. It was a wild battle. But of course, we can't have a NASCAR finish without a little bit of controversy. Eric Almirola, fair or foul, putting Alex Bowman into the wall. From what I saw, he slid up, and mistakes happen. But my guy, you act like this guy cut someone's freaking head off in front of the entire racetrack.
I'm just so curious that just the reaction from social media on this. Yeah, they act like Eric Almirola chopped his head off or something like that. It was a move for the win. I mean, granted, if roles are reversed, Eric Almirola is probably going to be pissed off about it too, but because he likes to whine a lot. But I didn't see enough here to where that's a foul move right here. I mean, dude, my guy literally won a championship at this track doing something just like that. And there was no hate on Daniel Hemrick for doing that. Yeah, I get it. Doing that for a championship versus a spring race is a little different, but I just all the reactions I've seen from it, I just don't get why people are so upset about it because he drives for Hendrick Motorsports, probably. But yeah, I don't agree. I think it's a fair move. He's going for the win. He didn't wreck the guy. Alex Bowman finished second. So I don't know. That's just where I'm at.
I'm I got a couple of thoughts here. I'm going to call foul. He didn't need to do this. He had the speed. Yes, it's close racing, and he stepped over the line. I don't know if he intended to hit him as hard as he did, but at the end of the day, you have to take responsibility for your actions. And for him to get out of the car and be like, well, yeah, it is what it is. It's like,
Praise
no,
God.
come on,
I
man.
don't know.
So, like, that's fine. Whatever. It's the end of the race. It was a rather enjoyable race. What I'm upset about more than anything, that this wasn't, say, I don't know, uh, Justin Allgaier and Sam Mayer, because then it becomes a storyline week to week. When's the next time Eric Almirola and Alex Bowman are going to be on the same racetrack? It's just it as upset as you want to be about it. Then you think about that aspect of it, and you're like, oh well, they're never going to see each other again, so it doesn't matter in the end. Um, and yeah, Eric Almirola got a trophy. He's on his way out anyway. Give him some extra trophies. Bowman's going to get more trophies in his time. So I I don't like him coming out of the car and not really taking responsibility for anything. Plus the storylines of how Eric acts in team meetings and whatnot from last year is it's in the back of your mind. It's like, is this guy as shiny and sweet as he comes across? Probably not.
Yeah.
So other than that, the rest of the Xfinity series sees this. The rest of the series knows that this is how he's going to race them and go for wins as a visitor in the series. So maybe they're going to make his job a little harder going forward, and
Yep.
that's on Eric. It's all part of the consequences.
Yeah. I can definitely see that. I mean, I totally agree with you. Eric Almirola is not the God sent angel that he makes himself out to be. That we've heard the stories, like you said, in the team meetings and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you're racing for the win there. You're gonna overstep where you are. He slid out, and you know what? It's gonna happen in those moments. But
This
I
is
do agree with you. He should have been like, you know, I put him in the wall. You know, I didn't mean to do that. That's all he could have said. That's all he could
Yeah,
have said, and then people would
Dale
have
came
felt a
out of the
lot better.
car. Dale comes out of the car. He's like, I meant to rattle his cage. I didn't mean to turn him around. Just say that. Be like, yeah, I meant to run him up wide. I didn't mean to slam him.
Yeah.
Like this is this,
this
and
is just
this is my problem
it's
with NASCAR fans is they get their panties in a bunch for something like this. But then when the races are boring and not close, and these guys aren't giving it their all, they're like settling in for, oh, I'll just take second place. It's fine. Like then they cry foul there too, and we come back to the same overarching theme of NASCAR is that the fans will never be happy. The fans will
yeah.
never be happy.
Bingo.
Well, what's crazy about this is this wouldn't even happen if that late caution didn't come out. I feel
Mm,
so gutted
mm,
for
mm, mm.
Justin Allgaier that he had this one in the bag again, and then that late
Right.
caution comes out, and he just could not execute on that final restart. It sucks to see. He still rebounded for a top 5 finish, and he had the fastest lap of the race, so he gets that extra point there. But man, 2 years in a row, it's in the Spring Phoenix race the ending of this has not been kind to old driver number 7.
But
Yeah.
driver number 7 came back and won the championship again. So maybe if history repeats itself, Justin Allgaier is not so mad.
Yeah.
But he just didn't have the short run.
No,
Allgaier didn't, and that's fine. That's how these races come down to end and whatnot.
Yeah. The nice thing is Justin Allgaier is good about every track that we go to,
Mhm.
so we'll see him in victory lane quite a few times this year.
For sure. Good car, good equipment, good driver, versatile
we
driver.
Oh yeah.
He'll be
also had a
around.
sneaky good run here in the top 5. Ryan Sieg finished 4th in this
Mm.
race.
And a
That's a good
backup car.
Yeah,
and a
yeah, with the
backup
backup
car.
car.
And
And
then
it wasn't a
Parker
practice crash. He ripped the front
and
end off backing out of the garage. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing for the facility. It's embarrassing for NASCAR. It's a NASCAR owned facility. You can't be putting your drivers in that spot, especially, I mean, with any team, let alone a team like Ryan Sieg's, where they're racing basically week to week. They're very slim margins there.
Yeah.
That's
and
tough. But he made the
Parker
best of it.
Red Parker Retzlaff rebounds to finish 11th. He didn't even race last week. He missed the show last
Mhm.
week. He didn't not qualify for it, and then he rebounds and gets a solid 11th place run. So yeah, it was a crazy finish. I don't get the outrage. That's just it's hard racing for a win. If Alex Bowman got wrecked and his day was done, sure, I understand that. Dude finished second, so
Yeah, that's
I'm not
racing.
gonna feel sorry for him. I'm just not.
No.
Yeah, and I'm more
Li-
upset. Like I said,
Literally,
I'm more upset that the people involved that because it's like
literally, because
if it's regular.
Yeah.
Alex Bowman does this shit at Martinsville with Denny Hamlin in the playoffs a couple years ago, and everybody's praising him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's just short track racing." But no, when it happens to him, he's a little crybaby. So
Well, you know
I don't
who
feel
was a witness to that race was
it.
Eric Almirola. He goes, I know how this guy that's the interesting dynamic of this is these guys
No,
race together for years.
Yeah.
who
They
was a
may have
witness?
something that they don't know. So
Who was also a
between
witness
each
to
other,
that race? Me being right there.
That was still one of
So
the
yeah,
craziest moments I've ever seen at a race.
mm,
it was it stung so much. And then just everybody cheering because Denny got wrecked. Oh my god, I'll never
sad.
forget that. I had a Denny Hamlin shirt on and I took it off after that because I thought I was going to get beat up.
Oh man, fun times at
Me included,
Martinsville.
NASCAR fans are hypocrites. So it's fine.
We
It's
all
fine.
are. All right, guys. So good Xfinity race. Let's move over to Sunday. William Byron won the pole and he won stage one. Christopher Bell wins stage two. And like I said, it's not a NASCAR race without a little bit of controversy. We were talking about Katherine Legge making her Cup Series debut. She had some difficulties out there, spun out a few times, wrecked Daniel Suarez. And now
Interesting
we're
right
going
there.
back to NASCAR fans on social media. Everyone's going to their keyboards and saying, she doesn't belong in here. What is she doing? Of course, it's a woman and all this shit, blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
And I think it's just absolutely ridiculous. My problem is that she didn't really get to run a whole lot of stock car races before she came into the biggest series in all of auto racing.
Yeah. So
Um,
that's my yeah.
yeah,
Here,
go
That's
here,
go
here's
my
ahead.
a
yeah.
this might be a bit of a hot take, but I first of all, let's get one thing out of the way. This is not Catherine Legge's fault.
No, no.
Catherine, there's sponsors, there's teams, there's all these contract stuff that has to get taken care of. Here's my hot take: if you put Elio Castroneves in the '78 car and he's never run a Cup car before at Phoenix, he's gonna struggle. If you put Max Verstappen in that car, he's not gonna. Maybe he doesn't wreck out, but I mean, the Daniel Suarez incident that came from contact. She was out of the way and she still spun it. There was contact about, and that could have happened to any one of those 30 something drivers out there and taken any other one of those 30 something drivers out there. This is not her fault. This was just poor decision making from the team, the Live Fast team, Catherine's team, the sponsorship team, to say like, this is the race we want. And I understand Phoenix is a hot market. The sponsor probably was like, yeah, we'll sport you to a Phoenix. It's just it wasn't the time and place for it.
Yeah.
It just wasn't right. And we learned, but we definitely can't be attacking Catherine as a person, as a driver for this. That's not going to stand. It's not cool. And definitely not because of her gender. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
shout
just
out to the guy that owns the pig.
yeah, right. We talked about it last week. We were kind of questioning why Phoenix, why with this team, and I just don't think this was the time and place for this. Catherine Legge is really good on the road courses. I would have thought maybe that would be the good time for it. I mean, Daniel Suarez kind of summed it up best. He said it has nothing to do with her being a female or anything like that. He just believes in general that if you don't have any experience on this, you should not be put in a car at the premier level of motorsports. That's what he said. It
Yeah,
has nothing to do with the gender. It has no, it's just that if you don't have experience, why put? She shouldn't have gotten granted the eligibility to do it here. So that's I don't know.
yeah. I think it's just a big problem with NASCAR's policy on how easy it is to go and run a
It's
cup
too
race.
easy,
Like she has
way
only
too easy.
ran an ARCA race before this.
I
Granted,
mean, it's
SVG he had to do that too before his Daytona 500 debut, but he won a cup race beforehand. He has experience in cars that are similar to the next gen car. Catherine Legge runs an IMSA, she runs an IndyCar, she runs so many different series of racing, and NASCAR just needs to be more strict on like, okay, how many like Xfinity races should they run before they go and make their Cup Series debut? How many times should they run a certain track before they make their Cup Series debut at that certain track? That's things that they need to look into.
but if you put that caveat, then you can't have things like Project 91, and you can't have products like Shane Van Gisbergen jettisoning their career in a completely different series to come race in your series. It's a slippery slope when you start looking at it that way. I mean, if logistically Shane Van Gisbergen cannot run Chicago if he's got to run 5 Xfinity Series races first, um, I just think they have to scrutinize a little more, and we've seen them scrutinize
Yeah.
with Jennifer Jo Cobb. They're like, no, we don't want you running Talladega because you just don't have enough time with this. With Kenny Wallace, I mean, he's been in the Cup Series before, but he hadn't run in a while, and they didn't want him to run Daytona. So we it the thing for me is it's like this inconsistency when NASCAR shuts people down. They're like, "Oh, get the pitchforks and torches and let's go after NASCAR." Because they want like Kenny Wallace race after he's been sitting on a couch for a few years. But I mean, she's been in cars. She's run 5 Indy 500s. That's not nothing. I just
No, yeah.
it's a tough thing at this track. There's nowhere to hide. And we said it last week. There's nowhere to hide. It's going to be hard for her to stay out of the way, and she's going to struggle not because of her gender or her ability. It's because of she's going to struggle because the experience and the car she's in. The car is no good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
it just
I totally agree with that. They put her in a complete shit box, but honestly, I think now just like thinking about it, I would rather have someone go through the trials of going through at least, half a dozen Xfinity races or Truck Series races to get ready for a Cup Series race. I think that's something that they should do. So we won't see anything like an SVG winning for his first time at Chicago. I mean, who knows? But I think that's the route they should go on because we need to have the best of the best out there. And if so, if we are bringing someone out for their first ever NASCAR race ever, let's make sure that they're not in a live fast motorsports car.
yeah. That's just
But
it.
then
It's
what
just
do you want? Do you want them to put him in a Hendrick car? Like it's hard because you got to
Yeah, it
start
is
somewhere,
hard.
and the better cars are not going to have open seats
it
Yeah,
was just a
it just
bad
makes up for
from
dangerous racing at that point, honestly.
it's
for
bad
sure.
from the get go. That car just live fast. That 78 car in general just has no business being on the racetrack. It's so much slower compared to even a Rick Ware car. Like even Rick Ware's got more speed than the live fast guys do. I mean, we're 2 seconds off in practice, losing 2 laps of stage. I mean, it's just the car's just not good. So I don't know really what anybody who steps into that 78 car takes out of it. What do you learn from that, from going that slow? I don't know.
Yeah,
It's a there's so much nuance to this, and
Yeah,
that's the problem. It's like every every individual situation is different. So like it's it's hard to to make these like blanket rules for this because like here's an example. Monaco Grand Prix is moving in the near future. I believe in 2026. It is no longer on Memorial Day weekend. That weekend is left wide open. So what's to stop Max Verstappen from he's going to go run the Indy 500 if this were a truly real hypothetical. But what's to stop him from being like, "Hey, I can do one race and I want to do the Coke 600. Who's got a car for me?" And NASCAR's like, hold on, Max Verstappen. You need to run 6 Xfinity races before you can run the Coke 600." No, they would be like, "Max, please, we will sanction our own car and we'll put you on the pole and we'll put restrictor plates on everybody else." Like they would bend over backwards to put Max on the track.
yeah,
at that point, it's just
It's got to be a case by case thing. It
a
just everybody could tell with Catherine going to this race in the car she was going to enter in that it was going to be uncomfortable, and unfortunately, we were right.
yeah.
yeah.
It's
I'm just trying to play devil's advocate a little bit here. Of course, like it's a tough thing. Everything's just as everything is everything. It's all nuanced.
yeah. I just think it's kind of crazy that we can let
It's
someone in for their first race ever, and someone's going for their first win ever. Let's say it's Ty Gibbs, 5 laps ago, and we have someone out there making it. I mean, it could be Max Verstappen. It will be his first
Mhm.
time in a Cup Series car, and he could just make a bad shift or something. Who knows what could happen and just
I mean,
totally
look,
ruin someone's race. I just think it's not smart. We need to either get them in way more simulator time, like at least over 100 hours of simulator time at the certain track that you're going to be making your debut at before you go out there and run. Bring back
yeah,
testing. I don't know why NASCAR doesn't do testing anymore because that helps out so many young drivers get prepared for a certain kind of race. They're really just shooting themselves in the foot every time they do something like this.
yeah.
They're
The
not
big
prepared.
thing is it cannot be this easy for anybody who brings a fat check with them to be able to step into one of these cars. We have to get away from that. It has to mean something to be able to qualify for a NASCAR Cup Series race. And yeah, look at what Daniel Suarez has been struggling for God knows how long, and he's running six. He's having a great day. Not saying he had race winning speed or anything like that, but he's finally going to have a good day, and then to be taken out by that mess right there, his day
Yeah.
is done, and that's why he was frustrated afterwards because it just has to be harder to be able to qualify yourself to be able to run one of these races. It has to be more difficult than what it is right now.
I mean, we see mechanical failures and mistakes affect the outcomes of races too. I mean, hell, we had 3 cautions towards the end of this one just from this, and then brakes failures and whatnot. So I mean, it's part of the horrible, terrible luck of racing as well. You you got to have a little luck everywhere you go in this sport too. And there's there is ways NASCAR can control the luck by scrutinizing a little bit more specifically um, who they let in, and that's why I'm saying like I don't want to see the blanket rules because it's just like you'll stop people from trying altogether, and then you'll still get people that show up with a big check to run 6 Xfinity races, and
Right.
still they what are they going to learn if they're terrible and just rich? So
Yeah.
But I like what Ian said about the testing thing. Like for something
mhm.
like this, bring them to this track to test, and they have to meet a certain lap time if they want to qualify themselves to be able to try and run for that race. I know that would be a really difficult thing to do, most likely, but why not? Like
For
get
sure.
her get anybody who wants to come in and race in the Cup Series, bring them to that track and give them a day of testing. And at the end of the day, if you have to reach this this lap time, and if you can reach that lap time, yeah, you can go ahead and do this. But if you can't, then you can't be out there. Something like that.
And we see that when bigger names want to come. I mean, when Kabui Kobayashi or SVG were coming in, they let them go do a day at VIR with an independent team and an independent car and just turn laps to get used to the car and whatnot. Um, so it's available. It's just it is so very strict.
Yeah.
They just don't want the team spending $1 billion to get that much faster through testing and be like, oh, we promise we're going to bring in this really big name driver to come run the cars in testing.
We don't want to do testing, but we're talking about having NASCAR teams go and race overseas and then have teams spend out of the pocket for that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting into a giant
Yes,
rabbit
it
hole
well
here,
that's it is it's a
but
slippery slope.
yeah, it is a
It's
slippery
like, well, what
slope.
about this? What about this? What about this? It's just because Catherine Legge had an unfortunate day at Phoenix.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
Yeah, but NASCAR and decisions they don't mix well together. That's all we
yeah,
know.
well, we know that. We know that for sure.
Yep. All right, so we had a big wreck involving a bunch of drivers at Phoenix. I did not think that we'd ever see the big one here, but Briscoe was involved, Carson Hocevar, Brad Keselowski, SVG, and others. But guys, Chase Briscoe has got to be so happy that he got that penalty overturned because he would be stuck in the mud right now.
He's looking at the points report after this week. He's like, "Yes, I was able to go down 5 spots in the points." Like he did. He went down to 20th in points, but like he would have been just that much further behind after Sunday. So yeah, I mean that penalty getting overturned was pretty big too.
Yeah, no, that was huge for Briscoe in the 19, especially since it's his first few races with that team too. That's not how you want to kick off your tenure with them.
Yeah, it has not been the best start for Chase, but it's still we're only 4 races into the season. It's going to take a little bit of adjustment time, I'm sure. And we'll start seeing some better runs soon.
And I mean, what was he like? Middle or top of 4 wide when he got caught? Like this
Yeah,
wasn't his fault at all. It's a restart. Where is he supposed to go?
right.
He kind of just got sucked into it. Bad place, bad time. Um, yeah, and it'll turn around. It'll turn around. I mean, you see the speed of the Joe Gibbs cars at the front of the field. Chase Briscoe's no slouch.
Yep.
He'll get up there.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a little growing pains with the new team, but he's a good driver. That's a fast car. They're going to win a bunch of races together. That's for sure. All right. And how about a guy who's winning a bunch of races right now? Christopher Bell, 3 in a row for the guy. I did not think that this guy was going to kick off the season this strong, but he is here and he is not messing around. People are already saying championship favorites. I mean, I agree with that, but never, ever, ever get your hopes up. This is coming from a Kevin Harvick fan who survived 2020.
Whoa.
I don't know how I just made fireworks happen, but that's awesome. Maybe I did that. I don't know. That was cool.
Yeah, Christopher Bell's on a run. They got it figured out, and at this point, you just ride the momentum. He led one lap at the Atlanta race. Okay, so that might have been a fluke. He wasn't the most dominant car at the end of Coda. Great. Here at Phoenix, I mean, the tire strategy was a little bit wonky at times, but he was up there the whole time. And that's the thing with the championship favorite drivers. You find them up towards the front at the end of the races. So yeah, he could have 0 wins thus far. He could have 3, 4 wins. It's just kind of how it falls, and he's on a streak of luck, and they're executing. When these opportunities arise, they're executing well and collecting checkered flags.
Yeah, the field should be a little worried right now because Christopher Bell has won at a drafting track. Christopher Bell has won at a road course, and now he has won on a short track, if you call Phoenix a short track. And Christopher Bell can go out and win at Vegas. Christopher Bell can damn sure go out and win at Homestead, and he's going to be very fast at Martinsville. Like that, if they could just keep riding this momentum, the rest of the field could be in some big trouble. And Christopher Bell could have 50 playoff points in 3 weeks' time, and that would be absolutely insane.
And that's what he's got to do. He's just got to, now that he's got that first win, he's got to go get stage points, and he's got to go get playoff points, and just build up that cushion. Because we've seen incredible seasons not even end in the final four. So his work's all but laid out for him.
And as a Denny fan, I'm absolutely gutted by that finish. But hey, start stacking up some points. I guess it's been a little bit of a rocky start to this year. So to get that podium finish, I'll take it. Although I really would have enjoyed that checkered flag.
He improved throughout the day and was there in the end when it mattered. So they're they're going in the right direction. He's got a new crew chief too, so he's probably not that he's in the same spot as Chase Briscoe, but it's been a lot of volatility around that 11 car with sponsorship and drama, and Denny's got off track distractions, and a new crew chief and he's old. He's the oldest Cup driver right now.
Yep.
I mean,
An
there's
old man.
not that he's lacking performance. Obviously, he's finishing second. He's out there competing for wins, but there's a lot more going on than just Denny Hamlin, good race car driver.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
We had some pretty good run before we finish up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had some pretty good runs here. Josh Berry started fourth,
Mm,
finished fourth.
Hell of a
Really
finish.
solid day. Really solid
incredible
day for
day.
Josh.
Incredible.
Kyle Busch keeping it up, keeping the good runs going. Another top 10 run there. And Zane Smith, after what happened at Coda last week, he brought home his first top 10 of the season. And then what's crazy, John Hunter Nemechek finished 14th. Right now, John Hunter Nemechek is 13th in points after 4 races. He's gotten off to a pretty solid start. And that's something that legacy organization can hang their heads high on because it has been rocky ever since joining the Cup Series.
Yeah.
I was frustrated, and I'm sure we're going to get into the tire discussion here in a second, but I was frustrated watching Kyle sit from 9th to 14th all day, and that they didn't ever take a set of reds to go for stage points. They obviously didn't have race winning speed, and the cars were putting on the red tires and driving to the front for the ends of stages. We're getting solid points, and it was a bit frustrating to watch him sit back there, ride in 10th, have his yellow tires go away, get passed twice in the last 10 laps of a stage, and get nothing to show for it. And he finishes with 8th. Yeah, happy with the top 10. But if you're going to hang around the front like that, and you know you don't have the race winning speed, do something to get some extra points. That was frustrating to watch there. And then how about Ty Dillon? Saves the Reds way longer than anybody else did, and then as soon as he's going to have the opportunity to get up there and drive through the field, he speeds on pit road, and couldn't take advantage of that. But I mean, seeing that 10 car racing legitimately up at the top 10 by the end of the race was kind of comical, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's how I knew.
Yeah.
Like, okay, these softer tires are actually doing something.
Oh, and you had Cody
Oh,
Ware at
there.
one point in the top 20. And because he was on those tires. So yeah, absolutely. These tires
Here's
had a significant.
Oh yeah,
here's my issue with the two tire compound thing, and I was thinking about this all week, and how I wanted to say it on here is that you have is the ones we know is IndyCar and F1 have the two tire compounds. Let's just look at F1. They have 2 minute long laps, and they have 2 second long pit stops. So we have 5 times less the lap time, if that, and we have 5 times longer the pit stops. So like it doesn't pan out the way you want it to. And this is when it comes across as gimmicky to me, is that you can have somebody slap on the reds and then just fly by everybody, and then they get points at the end of it, right? Um, the ratios don't make sense to have two separate tire compounds, because
Yeah,
if you're 3 seconds faster a lap on a road course, it's a whole lot different than if you're 3 seconds faster a lap, even for a short period of time on an oval like this. So that's where it's like, yeah, it's cool, it's fun to see him cut through the field, and it's cool to see passing on a track where we never see passing. But I'd rather, like a lot of other personalities and people are saying, to just see the softest tire that they think is possible and make the drivers put it in the driver's hands, make them manage it, make it one tire, and go from there.
yeah. I thought the soft tire was great. Showed some great racing all around. So just make that
Mhm.
the permanent tire for all short
yeah,
tracks.
it was just so crazy seeing guys putting these softer tires on and going from 30th up to fourth in a span of 15 laps. That was just unreal. I mean, that tire, it worked. Now, how can we make that work for an entire race now and not just have them have two sets of it? Because then I think you would get into that question of where these guys are going to have to start saving these tires. How do they manage their tires? And that's going to make the race more compelling and more exciting, because this was it was a solid Phoenix race, and the tires
Mhm.
had everything to do with that. Because once those tires started to go away, then we got back to pretty much same old Phoenix, where kind of got strung out a little bit. But the beginning of those runs with the guys who were on those option tires, that was fun to watch. It was fun to watch them go from 30th to fourth in 15 laps just to see their progress. But then, yeah, after they wore off a little bit, then you get back to Phoenix, normal Phoenix racing. So, can we figure out a way to make this the permanent tire? Because then that makes it more fun having to have these guys manage them and save them.
For sure, and it was all about putting them on when other people didn't have them on, because when they started stage 3 and everybody went on their first set of reds, I was like, well, nobody's going to go anywhere anyway. It's going to be the exact same thing, and maybe you had to manage them a little bit more, to try to make them last longer. I mean, we got a good idea of how long they could last potentially with Joey Logano's stage 2 run, and he faded at the end, and that was really good. So then you see that maybe he saves them to get to, or he uses them to get to the front. Other people hang back and save it. He starts fading at the end, and everybody's still in the same tire. They can catch back up to him and get around him. I think that's your solution. I think that the pit cycles are too long, from pit in to pit out, and the laps are too short to have two tire compounds the whole race. It just doesn't seem super fair. Because I was also really curious to see before the final cautions, like with the William Byron strategy. He's like, we're not moving up anywhere. We're gonna pit right here about halfway to go on this last run, and it didn't get to pan out because we saw the caution come out. But when William Byron got caught on pit road, I was curious to see if people were going to try to cut it in half and put on their other set then, and see how that would work, because they could just push all the way to the end.
Yeah, I'm sure once we get more short tracks in, they'll maybe kind of figure this stuff out, and hopefully we'll see the softer tire come into more play. Maybe we'll see more than 2 sets in the future. Alrighty, guys. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be making our picks for Vegas, so stay tuned. back. We are here to make our picks for Las Vegas Motor Speedway this upcoming weekend. We got all three series running. Love to see it. First off, we got the Truck Series on Friday night. It's the EcoSave 200 miles, 134 laps. Stages 1 and 2 are 30 laps each, and the final will be 74 laps. Last year's winner was Raja Karuth, getting his first ever Truck Series victory. Can he do it again this weekend? Most manufacturer wins here, Toyota, so look out for them this weekend. And the only notable that we really got in this field is Justin Haley. He's going to be in that 07 for Spire Motorsports. So, guys, I'm going first. I was worse in our last Truck Series pick, so I got to go with the only Cup Series entry in here. I'm going with Justin Haley. Used to run those Truck Series full time for a few years. He's going to be stepping back, and he's going to have a lot of fun this weekend in Sin City.
And it's a Spire car. They won last year. They know how to get around here. I don't hate that pick at all.
Yeah. All right, Nick, who is your pick for Friday night in Vegas?
It's time for me to finally start being a homer. I'm taking the 19 truck of Daniel Hemmer. I stayed away from him the first couple races of the season. Not anymore. Anytime he's available, I'll be taking him. But let's be real. He races for a really competitive team, one of the top teams in the trucks. So you know he's going to have a good truck underneath him, and he's got tons of experience running around here at Vegas. So yeah, I think Daniel Hemrick, he almost won that Atlanta race with as banged up of a truck as he did. So you knew that thing was fast. So I look forward to seeing some speed out of that 19 Friday night, getting his first win of the season, and we're gonna do some backflips.
Definitely, man. Would love to see that. All right, Tom, who do you got for trucks?
We've left the super speedways behind. We've had a couple weeks off. Now it's time to buckle down, get into the meat of the season. And there's nobody better at these regular tracks than the 11 of the Tricon Garage. He's got some of the most experience out there in these trucks in this current format of truck racing and whatnot. He knows how to get around here. He knows how to be fast. Corey Heim's going to win.
Not bad at all. Alrighty, guys, let's move over to the Xfinity Series race. 300 miles, 200 laps. Stages 1 and 2 are 45 laps each, and the final will be 110 laps. Our previous winners here, we had John Hunter Nemechek win it in the spring, and Allmendinger won it in the fall. Both Cup Series regulars now. They will not be entered into this race here. Chevy leads the way for manufacturer wins with 18 wins. So look for a bow tie this weekend. And the only big notable coming in here is Eric Almirola. He's back in that 19 with Joe Gibbs Racing. So, Nick, we're going to kick off with you for Saturday with the Xfinity Series. Who is your pick to go to Victory Lane?
First off, it's crazy. I'm picking last, and my guy finished third last week. It's just we just had we all three of us we picked the guys last week, and my Brandon Jones pick it almost worked. I'm not picking Brandon Jones again. I'm gonna go with the 7 car of Justin Allgaier. Last 6 races here, he's got 6 top 10s, 4 top 5s, and it's just a mile and a half racetrack, and he always seems to have the speed here. And yeah, the last week's ending for him, I know he's pissed off about that. Thought he had that one in the bag. So I expect Allgaier to come out here and just show him what he's got. 7 car goes to Victory Lane on Saturday.
Yeah, that would be a huge redemption for what happened this
Yeah.
past weekend. All right, Tom, who do you got winning in Vegas on Saturday?
I'm going to go all on a limb here a little bit, take a riskier pick here. And I'm going to go with the 39 of Ryan Sieg.
Ooh.
Yeah. And my feeling, he's got a great finish last week. The odds are that you guys aren't going to pick the 1 and 2 finishers. It can't happen again, right? um, and he's really solid at these intermediate racetracks. I mean, you look at Texas; he almost won that one on pure speed last year. Uh, Lost by inches to Sam Mayer in the Junior Motorsports car. And this team is really solid and consistent on this type of racetrack. So I think it's just going to be a solid top 10 day for the 39. I think that's going to be enough to get me some points here.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good pick right there for sure. All right, so man, Eric Almirola won me some points last weekend, so I'm gonna keep on going with it. I'm going with that 19 to go to victory lane. This guy is just too good wherever we go inside of an Xfinity Series car.
Picking back-to-back winners never works. I don't know what you're talking
Yeah, doesn't work out for you, that's for sure, buddy.
about.
Well, speaking of which, let's move over to Sunday's race, the Pennzoil 400 mile race, 267 laps. Stages 1 and 2 will be 80 laps each, and the final will be 107. Last year's winners, we had Kyle Larson win it in the spring, and Joey Logano won it in the fall.
Ugh.
So
Sorry, I
sorry,
forgot about
Tom.
that.
Yeah,
Ugh. God
that's
damn.
that's kind of when it all started for the downfall of the 2024
Mm,
NASCAR season right there.
fuck.
All right, so Nick, you are going first for Sunday's race. Who is your winner?
Yeah, he won it in the spring last year. He's going to win it again this year. I'm going with the 5 car of Kyle Larson. Really, the last couple of years, Vegas has turned into kind of the Hendrick track. I mean, Kyle Larson's first win with Hendrick Motorsports came at Las Vegas in that 5 car back in 2021. And then if you look at the last 6 races here, all in the next gen era, the numbers speak for itself. He's 4 top 5s, 4 top 10s, 2 of those being wins. So I expect the old 5 car to get back to his old ways, and he might put on an ass whooping on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, not a bad pick at all. I'm gonna have to agree with you, dude. Hendrick Motorsports, dude, they just know how to dominate at Las Vegas during the springtime. I'm gotta go with that 48 of Alex Bowman. He has won here before. He just always has a great car here. Can't go wrong with a Hendrick car this weekend. And then Tom, you are going to round us out here for the Cup Series pick.
Well, if I were to pick a Hendrick car, I think William Byron would finish better than those two jokesters. But I'm not going to pick a Hendrick car. I mean, Nick, you were saying in the discussion portion of the show that Christopher Bell is going to go on and win Vegas and win Homestead and win at Martinsville. What I'm picking last, and you guys are letting me pick the guy who wins 3 in a row. Momentum's a real thing. Even if he doesn't get the win, he's going to be in the top 5, and that's going to be points for me. But I mean, the way that Christopher Bell runs here, he is the hottest thing on the planet right now. And this team knows how to execute, get it done at the end. He was hunting down Larson, and he was going to win the race. I mean, he didn't. He ran out of time, but he's going to be up there at the front. He's going to be competing, and I'm going to ride the wave of momentum. And I can't believe you guys left him on the table for me to snatch up.
Can it be done? Can he
No
get
way.
four in a
Four in
You
row?
four in a
did. We
row. The
said
last time we had it was who was it?
That was Kyle
I,
Larson,
was it Kyle Larson? I think 2017.
2021.
So or
yeah, he did it in
2020.
20,
He did 4 in
21.
a row
Yeah.
in 21. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, he almost had 5 in a row,
enough
but
of
then his
that guy.
tire went down at Pocono.
That's right. That's back when we were still doing double header races and all that.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah,
Said it
So
yeah.
last week. It couldn't be done. I was wrong. I'm
Mhm.
saying it again. It cannot be done again. He will not win 4 in a row, and I can't wait for next week when Tom's picking last again because he won, and he's going to pick Christopher Bell again because we're going to leave it on the table.
Hey,
yeah,
man, I'm just gonna let it ride as long as you guys let me. Listen, he doesn't have to win the race. He just has to beat Bowman and Larson. So,
yeah.
and I think he can do it. The
I
gauntlet has been laid, gentlemen.
think it's very possible, but dude, yeah, there is one guy. If I'm a Cup Series driver right now, I am looking out for that 20 car right now. He is just fast, aggressive, and he just knows how to win a damn race or two.
Hmm.
But guys,
Or
I think
three,
yeah, or three,
Yeah.
or maybe four this weekend.
or
Who
four,
the
five,
hell knows?
6,
Yeah,
and then all that to not make it to the championship 4.
just
Oh yeah,
watch.
he's
Love to see it.
totally,
It's gonna happen.
he's absolutely getting bounced in the round of 12 or something like that. He's gonna have an engine blow at this racetrack, and
It's
we'll
gonna
come
be
back
at
here in the
Vegas.
fall. It's gonna be here.
I,
He's gonna be leading, and it's gonna blow.
I mean, this is what Joe Gibbs does. Joe Gibbs shows up at the beginning of the season, they take it, and then Penske catches up, and they win the playoffs at the end of the season. I mean, Joe Gibbs, non Christopher Bell drivers, the last Joe Gibbs win was Denny Hamlin at Dover. Whenever
Yeah,
they ran Dover,
almost
we're
a
coming
year
up on a
ago.
year, so it's tough, but not for Christopher Bell.
Yeah.
Pretty fun being him right now. 16 playoff points already, and we're only 4 races into the season. He
And
gets
he's
5
still
more of
second
those.
in points.
He gets
and not
5
even
more of
leading.
those. He can breathe very easily come round 1 in the
Oh,
fall.
absolutely.
Well, I mean, this lets you take risks. This lets you go, oh, I'll go for a stage win here. I'll get an extra bonus point. Oh, I'll try something crazy on tire strategy or try to stretch my fuel really long. Doesn't matter if he runs out of fuel with 2 laps to go and finishes 34th because they were going for the win. They don't need it. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Alrighty, guys. Well, that will end it here for us. Make sure to like our video, subscribe to our channel, check out all of our links down below, and make sure to share this video with all of your friends. So for the Stock Car Spectacle, I'm Ian Jortson.
I'm Nick Kinzel.
I'm Tom Hoblet.
We'll see you guys next time. Enjoy Vegas.